The O'Reilly Factor's on tonight.
This is a classic cover-up of a cover-up, and that is a serious offense.
So why isn't the national media covering the explosive Benghazi memo released yesterday? We'll tell you what the memo says and why the press fears it.
The creepy part is that, when you get taped in your own house, and then that goes out to the world.
The creepy part is when you demean the entire black race. But some people still don't get that. Tonight we'll talk it over with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Also coming up, Miller on basketball racism. And Waters goes to Harlem to find out what the folks think.
You think Sterling's making white people look bad?
No, he's not making white people look bad. He's making himself look bad.
Caution. You are about to enter the no-spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. President Obama, the press, and the Benghazi memo. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Well, now we know. Now there's no question that the White House misrepresented the terror attack on September 11th, 2012 in Benghazi, Libya. 4 Americans murdered by a coordinated terror attack, most likely from an al-Qaeda affiliate. Not one person has been brought to justice in the attack. Not one. 5 days after the murders, UN Ambassador Susan Rice said this to the world.
The information, the best information and the best assessment we have today is that, in fact, this was not a pre-planned, premeditated attack. That what happened initially was that it was a spontaneous reaction to what had just transpired in Cairo as a consequence of the video.
That was not true. That was not even close to being true. And a variety of people told the White House it was not true. Yet Ambassador Rice said what she said. Yesterday, the watchdog group Judicial Watch released the damning truth, which it procured through the Freedom of Information Act. A memo written by senior White House advisor Ben Rhodes, dated September 14th, says that Ms. Rice was prepped to, quote, underscore that these protests are rooted in an internet video and not a broader failure of policy. Again, that despite CIA people in Libya and perhaps Defense Secretary Panetta telling the president and the White House the video had little to do with the murders. On Super Bowl Sunday, I put the question to President Obama himself.
You have some who are affiliated with terrorist organizations, you have some that are not. But the main thing that all of us have to take away from this is our diplomats are serving in some very dangerous places.
But we've got
to make sure that not only have we implemented all the reforms that were recommended by the independent agency, but we also have to make sure that we understand our folks out there are in a hazardous, dangerous situation.
I think everybody understands that.
No, but actually, not everybody does, because what ends up happening is we end up creating a political agenda.
And that's exactly what happened. The president and the White House created a political agenda, saying a spontaneous demonstration led to the murders, not a coordinated terror attack. And they did this because the president was running for re-election on a platform that he had broken al-Qaeda. And any evidence to the contrary might have hurt his campaign. Now, did President Obama know Ambassador Rice was misleading the world? The memo from Rhodes, one of his top advisors, went to his spokesperson, Jay Carney, among others. So the truth is, the president stood by while the United States of America misled the world about a terror attack. But even if Mr. Obama was not directly engaged in that deception, the moment he found out about it, he should have corrected the record. But he did not, even when he had a chance with me to do so. That's a huge story. But if you read the Wall Street Journal today, the New York Times, the LA Times, the Boston Globe, there's no mention of it. None. The Washington Post ran the story on page 17. Only USA Today was honest and responsible, putting the Benghazi email story on the front page. Congratulations to USA Today, which is owned by Gannett. The network news last night didn't cover the Benghazi story. MSNBC didn't cover it, nor did CNN in prime time. And this morning, only the CBS Morning News mentioned the Benghazi story. That's a scandal, a scandal. That is proof the American press is dishonest, period. They're covering up a cover-up, as Krauthammer put it, which might lead directly to the President of the United States. Yet few Americans even know what's going on, while nearly everybody in the country knows about a racist comment by a basketball owner. So what we have here, in the words from a movie, Cool Hand Luke, is failure to communicate. And that failure by the national press to tell the American people the truth about Benghazi is for one reason and one reason only: to protect President Barack Obama. And that's a memo. Now for Top Story Night Reaction. Joining us from Los Angeles, Fox News analyst Leslie Marshall, and here in New York, the host of Media Buzz, seen Sunday mornings on Fox News, Howard Kurtz. So explain to me why the national media didn't cover it.
Most of the media bill are suffering from Benghazi allergy syndrome. There's a knee-jerk reaction that this story is old, it's complicated, it's settled, the country has moved on, and there's one more thing, and you got some of this backlash when you interviewed the president about this. The sense that, oh, it's a Fox News story.
Okay,
therefore
but now we know it isn't. Now we know that the White House misled on purpose for political reasons in a presidential campaign. So all of that baloney goes to the wayside, and now they have to, if they're honest, saying, you know, it's a big story. It's a big story.
It's a significant story. In some ways, it's an incremental advance on what we already knew, that the White House was spinning in an election year to try to minimize the fallout from the Benghazi attacks and leading to the misleading Susan Rice talking points on those Sunday morning shows. But even if you think it's not that big a deal, then cover it, analyze it, put it in context. Don't black it out.
All right. So I'm right when I'm saying the reason they're blacking it out is to protect President Obama.
No, I don't agree with that point.
Why not?
I think the press is bored by the story, is more interested in Donald Sterling, is more interested in Clive Bundy, and feels like this is an old story.
A17, the Washington Post?
Better than nothing at all in the New York Times, I'll tell you that.
It's embarrassing. All right, Leslie, what do you say?
Actually, I agree with Howard on this. If you look at what's trending, and I think a lot of people deciding what they're going to put on their airwaves on other networks or in print, because it comes down to numbers, whether it's ratings or selling papers, they were caring about the Clippers and not just here in Los Angeles.
Couldn't do both, Leslie?
A lifetime ban, a huge fine.
Leslie. You couldn't do both?
Yes, Bill.
You couldn't do both? I did both.
No,
I did both last time.
I'm not disagreeing with you that they were being irresponsible not to cover it. However, the bottom line is, what did Americans care about? This is supply and demand.
Leslie, it doesn't matter what Americans care about. Journalists are in business to cover the news. Look, let me break this to you, Leslie. All right?
I agree,
the press is in the business to cover the news. This is news.
Correct.
They're not covering up. Kurtz is wrong because they want to protect Obama. Period. They've been doing it from the very beginning, and they're going to continue to do it until he's out of office. All right, Leslie, if you say I'm wrong, you tell me why they didn't cover that story. Because you can cover that, and the Clippers, and the missing boat plane. All right, did you know there was salt water in the Indian Ocean? I think that's what CNN is reporting now, salt water in the Indian Ocean, okay? You can recover you can cover them all. All of them, especially in a newspaper, all right? They ignored it on purpose because they don't want President Obama to look like a cover-up guy. That's what's going on.
I don't agree. I don't agree. I think they know that it's... I'm going to back it up right now. Hillary Clinton, hopefully, God willing, polls show today, would win and would take over the electorates and has a lead over Jeb Bush and the other GOP potential candidates for 2016. We're going to hear about Benghazi 24/7 on every network when and if this woman runs. And I agree with Howard that the perception is the American people have moved on and cared more about the Clippers and a guy who died on a gurney in Oklahoma.
I'll say it for the 5th time, you can do both. And you guys are so desperately wrong.
I do
I'm
agree
surprised
with that.
at you. I'm surprised at you.
I
You
just
work for
said I agree
Leslie,
with
I'm not
you on that
surprised
point.
at you. You're an Obama person. I'm surprised at you. You work for the Washington Post. You work for CNN. You know how much airtime all of CNN has, okay? You know how much airtime they have in the morning. 2-hour blocks. They did not run this story because it reflects poorly on Barack Obama. That's the fact. You should know it, and you should say it.
Listen, You understand, first of all, that the press doesn't always cover the most important stories. I don't
understand that.
I am not defending that.
I've been doing this 37 years, all right? They cover, most of them, the stories that are big. This is big.
This is big. CNN did have a debate on it on the morning show, but not enough. And here's my point.
They didn't cover it last night.
But
they didn't cover it last night. Not 1 second in 4 hours of prime time did they devote to it.
I am not going to defend that. I can't understand it. But President Obama has been getting lots of lousy press from the mainstream media about foreign policy. Maureen Dowd slams him today. David Brooks questioned his manhood.
This is a scandal.
It's a scandal.
All right, this is an incompetent policy.
But it's a scandal that has been going on for more than a year and a half.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything about it. Did you hear Cheryl Atkinson on this program?
Yes.
When she tried to investigate it, what happened to her?
Well, CBS didn't run the story.
Yeah, they spiked it.
And she quit.
And she quit. They spiked it. And you're telling me that they're not protecting Barack Obama? Are you telling me that?
What I'm telling you is the press is falling down on the job in this case because it is a story that has been kicking around for a long time, and this did not crack it open. You think it's all about...
Oh, it cracked it open.
Really?
You got a guy like Ben Rhodes writing a memo like that, and then you have Obama sitting with me when he could have said, you know what, we handled that wrong.
The one thing we agree on, Bill, is that this is news and should have gotten more coverage.
All right. Howard Kurtz, everybody. Leslie Marshall, next on the Rundown. Did Hillary Clinton know about the cover-up in Benghazi, and will that become a presidential issue for her? Call Roe with some thoughts. Then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on whether the Los Angeles Clippers race deal is over. Factors coming right back.